Throws him with that billy club and then throws it back to Ronnie Gossett. Ronnie Gossett has that billy club tucked in his belt. Lawler down on the mat. Now the referee comes back in. The Master of Pain covered. Lawler is out. 3. Lawler has just lost the world title to the Master of Pain.
Let me show you something what I've had in store for Jerry Lawler a long time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to take care of business.
Nail Lawler while he's down, huh? Ronnie Gossett signed a contract that he'd get in the ring with Lawler, win, lose, or draw. Well, he's done it. He stepped in there after Lawler had been smashed with that club. Come on, Jerry Kent, I know it's not easy to move, but there's some way we can get him out of there. Look at that. Here he hits him again with a right hand. All right, look at this strut. And Dutch Mantell.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Dave Brown. We're in a little different place right now, watching the highlights of that with the King. Jerry, you know it's not a pleasant thing to see.
No, it's not. You know, Dave, I've watched it several times, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys had the correct tape and that the camera angles were all correct. As I think it's obvious to everybody that Ronnie Gossett maneuvered his way around that ring and got that billy club from the security guard, threw it into the ring. That's what the guy used to knock me silly. And then now he's claiming that he is truly the world heavyweight champion. Well, let me tell you something, Ronnie Gossett, and you too, Master of Pain. In my eyes, and in anybody's eyes that just watched that videotape, you are not a true champion. You don't deserve to have that championship belt. And now this Ronnie Gossett is claiming that, I want an immediate rematch. Ronnie Gossett is claiming that I've slid down the ladder of contenders and that I'm going to have to wrestle some other top contenders before I get another shot at that belt. Well, Ronnie Gossett, I'm going to get a shot at that belt, and in the process, I'm going to get a shot at you, you big fat slob. What I gave you last week is just a mere sample of what you got coming. I promise you that, brother.
Jerry, of course, we're in the control room right now, but in the studio, Ronnie P. Gossett is standing by, and we've promised him that we will give him at least an opportunity to say something. He says he has a special announcement, and Jerry, I hope he'll explain that black eye he's got there, too.
Dave Brown, you idiot, this eye is none of your business, and I didn't authorize you to be in any booth. You're supposed to be over here behind this desk doing your 10-cent job instead of babysitting Jerry Lawler. Lawler, you get a good look at this belt, because it's the last time you're going to see it. You're not getting a rematch. You're not even worthy of a title shot. Not only does Ronnie Gossett own the world heavyweight champion, the Master of Pain, but he now owns the Japanese Imperial Dynasty, and he has made an agreement to lease Action Jackson. Action Jackson from the stud stable, the chairman of the board, Robert Fuller. So, Lawler, you're not the only bum that wants a title shot. I've got offers coming in from all over the country. And if you get by Action Jackson, which I seriously doubt, that'll be just one step in your long staircase. You are nothing but a last place contender, a position that you should be very comfortable with.
Well, the word from Ronnie P. Gossett.
I guess now, what is he thinks he's going to be the manager. He's been fired or he's been thrown off the TV set trying to do an announcer job. Now I guess he thinks he's going to start managing some wrestlers. Well, let me tell you something, Ronnie Gossett. You better take a good look at that belt around your shoulder, because it's only going to be there a short time. And if you get within arm's reach of me, brother, as I've said before, I'll stick this fist so far down that fat throat of yours, they'll need a crane to pull it out, and that's a promise.
Got lots of action to come today. We'll be back. Today on Championship Wrestling, but right now I want to kind of recap something else that happened a week ago on Championship Wrestling. Robert Fuller came out here. He was raving and screaming and claiming that Jeff Jarrett's dad stole the territory from his dad and stole the wrestling business in this area and all of that. Take a look at just some of that action that occurred last week.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is that stinking con man, lying, good-for-nothing jerk. I'm saying Jerry Jarrett is a thief. That's what I'm saying. And that he conned my grandfather in a senile state of mind, and he wound up being part. Let me tell you the whole thing. You asked me, let me tell you. Then Jerry Jarrett become partners with what was my father. And then they had nothing but problems between them. The reason they had nothing but problems between them is because of Jerry Jarrett and all of his cronies that hung around him, and because he's the greatest liar that ever lived. He's the greatest con man and cheat and thief, and that's exactly what happened to my father. He got conned, cheated, lied to, and his territory stole away from him. It belongs to one man now, and that's supposedly Jerry Jarrett. And let me tell you something. If you think for 1 second, that punk Jeff Jarrett is going to get 1 inch of what belonged to my grandfather, or belonged to my father, or now belongs to me, you can take it and stuff it, baby, because you wanted to know it. Now you hear it. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Jerry Jarrett, you lying, conniving, con man, stinking thief, your boy is going to pay the toll of a lifetime, baby, and that's death if it has to be.
Well, you can imagine the reaction, I think, of Jeff Jarrett after hearing all of this all of a sudden coming through a television monitor. Jeff is standing there watching all of this, and he did come and respond to what Robert Fuller had said, and here's what Jeff had to say.
Now, you can sit out here and say whatever you want, call me a goof, call anybody you want, but you don't talk about my father, and you don't call him a thief. Now, Robert, you've publicly accused me, and I never have discussed business with my father because he'd probably slap my jaws off because that's his business, and I've got my own business. But, Robert, I'm going to do something for the first time. I'm going to go to my dad and ask him the real story. And I'm going to come back here and not tell you, no. I'm going to tell you, Dave Brown, Tracy, John, and the people the real truth.
All right, Jeff said he was going to check with his dad, find out what the whole situation was. Here right now is Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, I see you got a piece of paper in your hand there, which...
Yeah, Dave, just like the people just saw. I told the people I was going to go, and here it is, Dave. You can read it, and the people can read it.
Here.
It's a contract, foreign consideration of $600,000. It lists the cities right here, and the 50-mile radius outside of the cities: Memphis, Louisville, Lexington, Kentucky, Evansville, Nashville, Jackson, Tennessee, and the rest of the list goes on and on. But the most important thing is here's my dad's signature, and here's Buddy Fuller's signature, and then there's 4 witnesses. Now, Robert, as far as I'm concerned, this case is closed. You can call it a threat, a promise, you can call it whatever you want. But don't ever get into my dad's business again, and don't ever, Robert, don't you ever call him a thief again.
All right, Jeff, thanks. Well, the stud stable and Robert Fuller did have something to say about the situation and about something coming up called the Rage in the Cage. Here's what they had to say.
Yeah! 15-foot, baby, of wire mesh and cage, Daddy. That this is a man's dream to take care of business. I'm talking about 15 foot of wire you can jerk on, hang on, pull on. You can fight your way to get out of it, and you're not never going to be able to do it. Now, this is a classic situation for us to be able to have 5 punks in. And when I talk about 5 punks, I'm talking about Jarrett with the $20,000 bounty on his head, baby, that's going to be inside this cage with all of my animals. And I'm going to see, Jarrett, that it's your last match that you're ever going to be involved in. Bring your Mason Dixon along. I hear they're going to be happy to be with you over there on that side, baby. Yeah. Brian Lee, Dutch, who else is coming in there? You got nothing but a bunch of babies coming in that cage. And I'm going to guarantee you, baby, that each one of you are going to know what rage in a cage means. That means these handcuffs right here, 9 pairs. 9 pairs of these handcuffs handcuffs are going to be distributed around that wire, baby. And what it means is when you lose or when you're beaten down and drug over to that cage and slapped in those handcuffs, that's where you're going to stay, and the match is going to roll right on. That means we're going to take a Mason Dixon. We're going to put the handcuffs on him and wire him up here, baby, to this wire. Both Mason Dixons. We're going to take Brian Lee. We're going to put him against this wire. We're going to chain everybody against this wire. And then Jeff Jarrett, baby, you're going to be the last man. And when we beat you and bloody your tail down and let you try to climb out of here, which you can't do, and make plumb a fool out of yourself, son, that's when we're going to chain up the last guy. And when everybody's changed, that's when the rage in the cage begins. Because, gentlemen, we get 5 minutes to beat on your chained up, handcuffed up bodies. And I'm going to guarantee you something. There's one young man that can say goodbye to professional wrestling because there's going to be the dangest $20,000 party that ever happened after we get through raging in the cage, Daddy.
All right, the rage in the cage. More to say about that a little bit later on. Right now, in the ring, set to go with Championship Wrestling here today, Tim Hall out of Memphis, Tennessee, new face on Championship Wrestling. And, boy, I tell you what, I don't envy this young man because here comes, led by Ronnie P. Gossett IV, with the unified world title slung over his shoulder. Climbing up onto the ring right now is the Master of Pain, last known address, Atlanta Federal Pen, 325 pounds. Jerry Calhoun is going to be the referee. And what are you doing over here at the table? You were
Let me tell you
from sitting here at the table.
Let me tell you something, Ignorance. I went from a little 10-cent commentator like you to the most prestigious job in professional wrestling. I am now the manager of the World Heavyweight Champion. The World Heavyweight Champion. You get a good look at this machine.
We've had a good look at this machine, unfortunately. He's
the most awesome force in professional wrestling. I have got letters pouring in from Japan, from all other organizations, wanting a shot at the Master of Pain.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that would like a shot at the Master of Pain because he has the belt, and also for other things like interference from...
He doesn't interfere. He represents this title.
Speaking of you interfering.
I never interfere.
Mm-hmm. Tim Hall back on the
Master of Pain is a true champion. He's not like that moron, Jerry Lawler. He doesn't hide from anybody. He doesn't cry. He doesn't try to pull strings.
Tim Hall really being worked over by the Master of Pain.
Devastating. Did you see that move, Dave Brown, or can you see that far?
I did see it. There's a count of 3.
It's over. It is over.
It's 1 minute 17 seconds, and the Master of Pain in a non-title match here against a young man who was making his first appearance on Championship Wrestling today in Tim Hall. He rolls out of the ring after being defeated in 1 minute 17 seconds. 1 minute 17. Well, as if we didn't have enough trouble with Gossett and the Master of Pain out here. Here comes Robert Fuller, Sylvia, Dutch Mantell, and Action Jackson.
I want to hear the real story. I want to ask you a couple of questions. You had that punk out here a minute ago with a phony document out here reading it. I want to ask you, how do you know it's not phony, first of all? How many prisoners in prison are guilty? Let me ask you that. How many of them come up there and say, I'm guilty, let me do my time? You tell me that, huh? Let me tell you something. If he's got that old man of his, and he's a mafia man, if you ask me, that he don't tell his family nothing. His wife don't know nothing. That punk kid don't know nothing except what he tells him. And I guarantee you, son, he tells you lies just like he told my daddy. And just like he told my granddaddy. That one thing for sure, that this punk is not going to get what belongs to me. That's my inheritance that belongs to my dad. And I'm going to guarantee you, boy, that this rage in the cage is going to sink your tail and do it good. I'm guaranteeing you that 5 sets of handcuffs is going to be just what we need. 9 sets to put them boys in, and then we're going to have the key to open the handcuffs up on our boys. 5 minutes we're going to have. We're going to take Jerry, and we're going to finish you, and I'm going to, last of all, get what's mine. Now I got my surprise ready for you. You see, 4 guys, baby. 4 guys. There needs to be 5 to have the rage in the cage. My last team member, I want to bring him out here right now. I want the Detroit Demolition and the new stable man that just signed the latest contract. Come on out here, baby. Let's all get a slap of hands with the baddest dude from the South right here, baby.
Detroit Demolition.
All right, man. Let me tell you something. That this thing is going to be devastating. Get in here, Ronnie Gossett. We got one more surprise for him because we got surprise after surprise until we get this thing worked out down to fine tune where I can get that boy out of my territory for good. Ronnie, spring it on him, baby. Spring it on him. Get a ghost up over here now. This is big news.
Oh, no.
Bring it in.
What is get that camera in here, stupid? This is my manager's license. And you know what this means? This means I can do anything I want to do. I can be anywhere I want to be. I can come to ringside. I can do anything. There's nothing I can't do.
That means Mr. Gossett here can go right inside that Rage in the Cage. Enough room to set your chair right down there in our corner. And if you don't know what that means over there, dummies, that means it's going to be 5 against 6 of us, and that's the way it's going to wind up. With Gossett's brain, baby, and our athletic ability, I guarantee you one thing, that we are going to finish the problem of the Jarretts once and for all, and then I'm going to get back what belongs to me. Stable is going to own this whole darn thing before we're done.
That's
and I think I'm
exactly
going to
right.
get rid of you, too, when we get that done, Dave.
That's exactly right.
Got to do it in the ring if you're going to win all of this and get all these people handcuffed and all of that. We'll be back with more of Championship Wrestling action.
Coming in May, the Renegade Cyclone Stampede.
Hello, everyone. I'm Roger Webb with Championship Wrestling. We want to remind you that on Friday, April 21st, we're going to be in West Paducah, Kentucky at the Heath High School. It's sponsored by the Football Boosters. Save $1 on advance tickets at the high school. Then on Sunday, May 7th, we're going to be in Kettleton, Indiana. Then this Wednesday in Owensboro at the Sports Center, a great night of action. Scott Steiner versus the Dirty White Boys. The Mason-Dixon connection going against Fuller, Mantell, the Master Payne with Roddy P. Gossett is a CWA tag title match. Jeff Jarrett got the CWA title on the line against Dutch Mantell. Jerry Lawler would be in the ring against Action Jackson. The big main event, Rage in the Cage. Lawler, Jarrett, Humongous, Smothers, Paul, Fuller, Mantell, the Master Payne. You're going to see Action Jackson, the Detroit Demolition, and Roddy P. Gossett. The fourth is going to be in that cage. Dutch Mantell had this to say about that CWA match.
I don't want everybody out there to listen up because, yes, you may worship me, and you can start right now. And Jeff Jarrett, I'm talking right to you. Now, you stole my belt. You stole my belt, but I don't blame you because thievery runs in your family, and that's a well-documented fact. Well, the stealing and the thieving's all over because I'm coming to reclaim what's rightfully mine. I'm coming to get the CWA Championship belt off you and back on to me where it belongs. It's going to be a glorious night for me and the rest of the stable because, Jarrett, after I defeat you for my belt, we're all going to climb in a 15-foot cage with handcuffs all around. The Rage in the Cage is going to be a glorious night. I'm taking my belt. The stable's taking Lawler out, taking you out, Jarrett, taking out everybody that's in there.
A lot of action now. That's in Owensboro this Wednesday at the Big Sports Center. Don't forget that big main event, the Rage in the Cage match. And yes, Roddy P. Gossett IV will be in the cage this Wednesday in Owensboro.
Detroit Demolition you're looking at right there. Our first look at him on Championship Wrestling as he goes against William the Freezer Thompson. Freezer out of Arkansas. Demolition, of course, out of Detroit. Demolition weighing in at 315. Big guy.
You know, Dave Brown, everybody wanted Detroit Demolition. And to show you how much clout Robert Fuller has, he has it.
Now, come on now, get up. Don't give up. Better get back in here and face the Detroit Demolition. I want you to get a taste of exactly what it's going to be like when the Rage in the Cage rolls around. I want you to feel like Jeff Jarrett. I want you to feel like Brian Lee, the Mason-Dixon, and that big goof Humongous. That's exactly what they're going to feel like, Mr. Gossett, because there ain't nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. They're all locked in a cage with handcuffs around. It's going to be like being in the joint.
Dues will be paid. Dues will be paid. Thieves and crooks. You know that. Jerry Jarrett is the biggest crook. Oh, yeah.
Now, with this new position here, Detroit Demolition, what's going to happen? The stud stable is going to become a dominant force not only in the rest of the 1980s, but well into the 1990s. And by the time it's over, I've talked to Robert Fuller, and I believe the ultimate plan is to take over control and ownership of this corporation right here. And I think it can be done, and it will be done. We just got to do a little bit of discouraging along the way. And Detroit Demolition is one of our big guns, and we're counting on him. We got a lot of confidence in him when we signed him. And I hope Jeff Jarrett and the Mason Dixon and everybody who's going to be involved in a Rage in the Cage going to look and see what's going to be waiting them inside that locked door.
Jeff Jarrett's days are numbered. Believe me, they are numbered.
It's easy for you guys to stand out here and talk about it, but you're going to have to do it in that cage, and there's not going to be any running out of the cage. It's going to be locked while you're in there, too. This guy's big, all right. There's no doubt about it.
Hey, the guy he's wrestling is big, too.
What do you think that is he's wrestling? You think he's got a pygmy in that ring?
He's got a big guy, and William
Out of
Freezer
shape.
Thompson's
Look
got a
at it.
variation of the Japanese sleeper hold, and he's got it. He's got him asleep, no doubt
You
about
learned
it.
that in Japan, and nobody has ever gotten out of that hole.
Well, Freezer Thompson did not get out of it without losing the match here. Yeah, come on, Dutch, to get him to break
You
it.
need a
Well,
crane
finally
to come in
breaks
here
it.
and get that Freezer, whatever he is.
Mantell in there with the Detroit Demolition. They're going to try to get Thompson out of there. Get him waked up. Here comes Jeff with the Mason-Dixon connection. Tracy Putters and John Paul. Humongous and Brian Lee. All of them. There goes Mr. Gossett. Thank you very much for getting rid of Ronnie P. He's been out there running his mouth, Jeff.
You know, Dave, it seems like every time, it seems like we're going to get them in a cage and it's going to be even. And the match is going to be 5-on-5. But now, Robert Fuller and his stud stable, seems like they've added another guy. Ronald Gossett is going to be inside the cage. Like I said, this time, me and Tracy and John and Brian and Humongous, we thought it was going to be 5-on-5. But no.
Comes the King. Hey, King.
This is a very, very impressive-looking group of wrestlers right here, and I just wanted to come out here and make a little offer to anybody that has any interest in this. And before I do it, let me just reach back here because I've got, as I said, this is an impressive group of gentlemen, and right here I have in my wallet here another impressive group of gentlemen here, but they all look like Benjamin Franklin.
Franklin, yeah.
Let me tell you what I got in mind here. I just heard Robert Fuller say that Ronnie Gossett was going to be inside the cage in that match. Well, now, if Ronnie Gossett is going to be inside the cage and they lock that steel door and that lock, then there's no way that he's going to be able to get out until that match is over, right?
That's right.
And that match consists of you, Jeff, and Tracy, and John, and Humongous, and Brian Lee, right? You guys all, do you realize that you guys all have a chance to get your hands on that big, fat slob, Ronnie P. Gossett? Now, what I'm proposing right here is, let me just count, let's see, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to save some. How about $1,000 here? Tell you what I'll do. I'll give this $1,000 to anybody, any one of you guys that will step out of that match and let me take your place inside that cage with Ronnie P. Gossett. And Brian, you look like you're
Brian's pointing to himself.
I'll tell you what, Jay.
Yeah.
I know how bad you want to get your hands on Ronnie Gossett, and I know how bad I want that money. So you got yourself a deal, King.
All right. You got yourself a deal. There you go, right there.
Good luck, brother.
Now, what we have just consummated here, Ronnie P. Gossett, is a little business transaction. Now, you come out here and you showed your business card, and you're trying to tell everybody now that you're a big high-class business wrestling manager? Well, you just saw a business transaction that is going to bring your little business to an end, brother, because now what's going to take place is when you have already agreed to step inside that cage
you're right. There is going to be a rage inside a cage then, because I don't care if you got Robert Fuller. I don't care if you got Dutch Mantell. I don't care if you got the Master of Pain. I don't care if you line up King Kong and Godzilla, brother. They're not going to be able to keep me off of your big fat back. So let me tell you something, Gossett. When we get down there to that arena, they're going to lock the 5 of us inside that cage. And they're going to lock the 6 of you inside that cage. And you're going to be in there with us, Gossett. And I want you to take a look over there, because when that man turns that key and puts that padlock on there, it's just you and me. And the way I see it, you big fat tub of, I'd love to say what you really are, brother. But this is a family show, and let me tell you something. The way I see it, you cost me the World Heavyweight Championship, which is worth a lot more than $1,000, and believe me, I'm going to take every penny of what I figure that's worth out of your big fat hide this week. So be ready, Gossett, because it is going to be a rage in a cage. And when it's all over, you're going to regret that you ever heard my name and that you ever set foot in that cage. Is that right, guys?
Makes it even more interesting, the rage in the cage right now. Look at the Mason-Dixon connection, Tracy Smothers and John Paul.
I'm Roger Webb with Championship Wrestling. We want to remind you that on Friday, April 21st, we're going to be in West Paducah, Kentucky at the Heath High School. It's sponsored by the Football Boosters. Save $1 on advance tickets at the high school. On Sunday, May 7th, we're going to be in Cannleton, Indiana. This Wednesday in Owensboro at the Big Sports Center. Great night of Championship Wrestling. You're going to see Scott Steiner, the Dirty White Boys. A CWA tag title match between the Mason-Dixon connection, Fuller, the Master of Pain with Sylvia, and Roddy P. Gossett, the fourth. Jeff Jarrett and Dutch Mantell will be in the ring. This will be a CWA title match. Jerry Lawler will be in the ring against Action Jackson. Then a big rage in the cage match. And yes, Roddy P. Gossett will be in the cage. Lawler, Jarrett, Humongous, Smothers, Paul. Detroit Demolition, you'll see Jackson, the Master of Pain, Mantell, and Fuller. Don't forget, that's this Wednesday, Owensboro in the Sports Center. Don't miss it.
In the ring right now, the Blue Knight and an apparently colorblind Red Shadow who's all dressed in black, not in red. Hear the music there. Boy, get ready. Here comes Lord Humongous. Handicap match here, 2 against 1. Jerry Calhoun will be the referee. Blue Knight and the Shadow run into Lord Humongous, and both of them just bounced off of him. Now they're going to try one from the front, one from the back. They run into him, and again, they don't even shake him. The Shadow up in the air, slammed, and the Blue Knight comes running at him. He's slammed. Humongous weighing in at about 304, 305 pounds. And now the Shadow and the Blue Knight
put together a plan. Well, what is it they say about the best laid plans? Didn't work out too well, huh? Humungus snaps him up over the shoulders, takes him over to the side of the ring, spins him. Look at this. My goodness. Throwing him around the ring like a stuffed animal. Oh, headbutt. There's a cover on both of them. 1, 2. Well, I tell you what. The Shadow and the Blue Knight tried just about everything they could think of, and they did not ever even shake Lord Humungus, who easily wins the match and leaves here with a victory in hand. Here, let's take a look right now at none other than Jeff Jarrett.
Good morning. It's 7 o'clock, straight up and down. Time to get up and get going. Rock and roll time. Born to be my baby. You know it. Bon Jovi. Good morning. FM 100, good morning. Everybody's cruising to work this morning. We got some good news for you. The long-awaited interview with Jeff Jarrett's coming up today, so hang on. It's coming up in just a few seconds. He's the hot new sensation, just like In Excess. Our special guest will be here any minute. One of my favorite wrestlers, Jeff Jarrett, is going to be here in the studios. And here he is now. Jeff, how you doing? Good to see you.
Brian, great.
Welcome aboard here. One of my favorite wrestlers in Memphis. Again, it's a pleasure to have you up. A lot of people have been calling. The phones are going crazy about the Jeff Jarrett interview. It's finally showtime.
All right. Well, Brian, I just want to thank you for letting me come up here to FM 100, and I'll tell you one thing. Things couldn't be better.
Special look at Jeff Jarrett, and here he comes right now. Jeff Jarrett out here for a match against Rupp of the team of Rupp and Reddy. And Dutch Mantell is out here at the desk right now. Why, I don't know.
Jeff Jarrett, a bogus champion from a bogus family, from a lying, cheating family, and he's carrying that CWA belt. And now, no more than 4 weeks ago, he stole the CWA belt from me right here on television. But pretty soon, very shortly, the next time we step into the arena, that belt is going to come back to its rightful owner, Dutch Mantell. I'm going to take the CWA champ. It's going to be a glorious night for me, the stud stable, when it comes time, championship time for me, and the rage in the cage. And I'm just looking. I'm going to whoop that Jeff Jarrett like the dog that he is.
Well,
and then we're going to get him in the cage and lock a door, and he's going to feel like the criminal that he is, because he's nothing more than a criminal walking the street. He could be a mass murderer. He could be any kind of things. But I don't believe in capital punishment. I believe if somebody commits murder or rape or something like that, they shouldn't be executed. They should be strapped in a chair and tied down and made to watch tapes and interviews of Jeff Jarrett 48 hours straight and put a little cyanide pill close to them. And then when they've had enough, it's only take about 20 or 30 minutes, they'll take that pill and take themselves out. And it'll save the state a lot of money.
2 and 3. Jeff Jarrett has just defeated
rough. Boss Winter tried to jump in there to...
Now, you see what he's doing now?
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. Look what he did. He's taking advantage of a man who's no more than managing his own property.
Wait a minute. He jumped in there after Jeff. He's the one that jumped in the ring. Jeff nailed him for it. Boss Winter, boy, he felt that one, let me tell you.
I guess you liked that a whole lot, didn't you, Dave?
Well, I tell you what, I did like it because I'm sick and tired of seeing people interfere, jumping in on matches like Boss Winter just tried to do, and Jeff just said, hey, don't do that.
Well, we're going to correct that problem in Rage in the Cage. Nobody can get out.
You're right.
Nobody can get in.
You're right. It's going to be a locked-in situation.
We're going to watch your mouth, Dave.
We're going to be back here. We've got six-man tag team action coming up. Don't you go away.
Coming in May, the Renegade Cyclone Stampede.
I bought cars all over the United States.
Keith Eric in the ring right now with a grappler and Reddy of the team of Rough and Ready. And here comes the Mason-Dixon connection with Brian Lee. Mason-Dixon connection with the CWA tag titles around their waist. And they will be stepping up for six-man tag team action right here. Keith Eric across the way out of Memphis, Tennessee. The grappler and Reddy out of who knows where. John Paul out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Tracy Smothers from Springfield, Tennessee. And Brian Lee from Orlando, Florida. Jerry Calhoun will be the referee. And once we get all the warm-up jackets and hats and belts and all of that passed out of the ring, looks like Keith Eric's going to be starting for his team. And across the way, it will be whom? Brian Lee will be starting. So Brian Lee goes against Keith Eric. Mason-Dixon connection over in the corner, trying to get the crowd going on their side. They're on their side to begin with. Boy, they were on their side quickly when Keith Eric came out, started insulting everybody before he even got up on the ring apron. Eric giving away lots of height, lots of weight to Brian Lee. Yeah, got him now, says Keith Eric. Whoop. Don't have him anymore, Keith. Brian Lee picks him up and body slams him. Reddy jumps in there now. He's body slammed. The grappler started in, thought better of it, so now they're all out of the ring down here on the floor. Brian Lee. Pretty well cleaned house with that one. We're a little over a minute into the action. This is, by the way, an expiration of time match. We'll have one fall, 2, 3, 4, whatever we have time for. Reddy steps back in. He threw that right fist to the midsection a couple of times. Brian Lee just stepped over it. And it got flying in the air and popped it. The knee of John Paul is the place where the head of Reddy ended up. Now John Paul in there. Reddy raked him across the eyes. Slowed him up a bit. He made the tag. Keith Eric tagged back in. And John Paul wasted no time in grabbing the left arm and forcing him right down to the mat. Eric going for the eyes. John Paul reverses him into the turnbuckles and rolls him with the arm coming off of there. Down to the mat he goes. Keith Eric, victim of the drop kick now by John Paul. And Eric's out of the ring. He about found himself in a bad situation because he was over very near the corner of John Paul, Tracy Smothers, and Brian Lee when he bailed out of the ring. Didn't take long for him to head back in the direction of his partners, Reddy and the grappler. Grappler takes a tag now. This will be our first official look at the grappler in action. He started in a couple of minutes ago, but backed out. Whoa, grappler runs right into a drop kick put on by Tracy Smothers as he was coming over the ropes after the tag by John Paul. Tracy sets up, nailed him with the arm. Tracy Smothers
Picks him up with an arm bar over to the corner. Makes the tag on Brian Lee. Tracy backs in the corner, says, here, he's all yours. Roll him up. 1. Got a count of 1 is all he could hold him for. Shoulders were down for the 1 count, but that was it. Drop kick by Brian Lee, and the grappler hits the mat. He was trying to hold onto the ropes to avoid it, but didn't work out too well for him. Brian got him anyway. Double upper arm by John Paul at Brian Lee. John Paul stays in there after the tag. Grappler grabbed with a clothesline, but not just clothesline. He was grabbed and forced down to the mat with it. John Paul makes a tag on Tracy Smothers. Double back shot. Grappler off the rope. Tracy Smothers now picking him up. Grappler quickly over to the corner. Boy, he was working his way over there as fast as he could go with Tracy hanging on to him. Got the tag on Keith Eric. Little past 4 minutes gone in the fall. Keith Eric facing Tracy Smothers. Championship wrestling action. Dave Brown here at ringside. If you joined us late today, you have missed a lot of action. Master of Pain, a winner in his match. New face, the Detroit Demolition, brought in by the Stud Stable and Robert Fuller. Lord Humongous won a handicap match today, and Jeff Jarrett looking mighty good winning his match. Keith Eric, oh, he's yelling, look, I'm not pulling his hair. There's no way I'm pulling his hair. When you hear Keith saying that, you can figure he's been pulling hair. Into the ropes goes Keith Eric. He goes by a couple of times. Tracy rolls him down. Does not go for a cover. Tell you what, we're getting backed up on commercial breaks here. We're going to keep the tape rolling as Tracy tags out. We'll take a commercial break, and then we'll be back with you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Roger Webb with Championship Wrestling. We want to remind you that on Friday, April 21st, we're going to be in West Paducah, Kentucky at Heath High School, sponsored by the Football Boosters. Save $1 on advance ticket to the high school. Then on Sunday, May 7th, we're going to be in Cannleton, Indiana. Then in Owensboro, this Wednesday at the Sports Center. What a great night of action. We've got a CWA tag title match, a CWA title match, and a big Rage in the Cage match. And you're going to see Ronnie P. Gossett the fourth. He's going to...
Let me get something straight right away, that I owe you an apology, and I want to give it to you right now, because I had no idea that Jerry Lawler would come and try to add himself into the match. I should have known that he'd get things changed if he wanted them changed. I owe you an apology. It's very few times I have to do this, but please accept it, Ronnie. Come on.
Robert, you did me the favor of my life. You let me have a shot at Jerry Lawler. I am fired up. I'm going to hit him high. I'm going to hit him low. I'm going to put the ham hock down his throat, because he can't compete with Ronnie Gossett. Bam!
I love it, baby. Let me tell you something, boys, and Lawler especially, and that Jarrett. Don't forget it, Jarrett. $20,000 is on your head, and I'm not going to quit till my territory belongs to me again, and you're done for and done for good. Jerry Lawler, you've been wanting it, baby. What we going to do is give it to you. The Ronnie Gossett here is going to wait till we get the handcuffs on you, then we going to turn him loose on you. How about it, big man? Yeah. The case to that stinking Jerry Lawler beat you, baby. No, he can't beat me, baby. What in a million years can he do it? That this is one night in Owensboro when things are going our direction, Betty. This is one night when my man fighting Ronnie Gossett, the best shape he's ever been in all of his life. Every day. He's going to take it to the ballpark with Jerry Lawler. And Lawler, you're not going to do nothing about it, because in Rage in the Cage, Daddy, we're going to handcuff you. You're going to be stuck there. Jarrett Lawler, you're finished.
Welcome back to Championship Wrestling. The match continues, and a 2 count right there on Keith Eric. I will tell you, you have not missed any significant turn of events or anything that's occurred here. It's been good action continuing. We've been going on now. Ball
Boss Winters out here screaming and yelling, complaining about Jeff Jarrett hitting him in the head. He didn't mention the fact he was trying to interfere in the match. Boss Winters in the corner because Reddy, one of his team members, is involved in the match right now with John Paul. John Paul takes him over to the corner and makes the tag on Tracy Smothers. Now Tracy makes the tag on Brian Lee. Power slam by Brian Lee, and down to the mat is Reddy. Not for long, though. Brian picked him up, picked him straight up in the air, and just kind of threw him down on the mat. Mason-Dixon connection, and Tracy Smothers and John Paul looking mighty good with Brian Lee in their corner. They're tagging out. Good tag team work by that team over there, the 3 men on that side. 6-man tag team action. Been going on now for about 8 minutes in this fall. Still no winner. Reddy fired into the ropes. John Paul steps out, leaves him for Brian Lee. Brian Lee with a lower leg. 7th inning stretch, says Boss Winter. Tag made. Here comes Tracy Smothers. Tracy up on the ropes. Here he goes. He just dumped Reddy over his back down to the mat. Does not go for the pin, though, at this point. Boss Winter trying to calm the crowd down. Take the crowd out of the match is what he wants to do. Doesn't work, boss. Tracy sits down on the upper arm. And Reddy is really finding himself in trouble here. There's a tag. Tracy Smothers takes his feet out from under him. John Paul sits down with a leg across the back of the neck. Wraps up the left arm, puts a bar on it. 9 minutes, 15 seconds gone in this first fall of action here. It's been a good one. Here's Tracy Smothers back in. Reddy back up on his feet. He went for the eyes of Tracy Smothers, and that slowed him down. That's the first real move of offense that we've seen from the team of Reddy, Keith Eric, and the Grappler in quite some time. It had been all Mason-Dixon connection and Brian Lee for several minutes. They've been able to take control of the match, but not get a pin just yet. Keith Eric backing Tracy into the corner. All 3 of them work, 4 of them. Boss Winter helping hold him in there, too. And now Tracy fights his way out of the corner. Keith Eric going to work on the left arm. Tracy Smothers reversing it on him. Oh, he got reverse. Look at Tracy. Kick him back, though. Tracy, Keith Eric glaring at each other across the ring. And Keith Eric comes over to the corner, and I don't know what he said, but he's complaining about something. You may notice that bandage across the forehead of Tracy Smothers. Tracy showing some of the scars of a recent stud stable encounter. John Paul hooked him down. Tried to put him in a small package. Didn't get a real good one, though, on Keith Eric. This guy's tough to pin. Got to give him that. There's Reddy in there now. John Paul power slammed him. We're about 11 and a half minutes into this. 11 and a half minutes have expired in this first fall of action. Brian Lee with a suplex. Reddy backed into the rope. Fired across the way. Brian Lee with a little knee lift. Doesn't take much of a knee lift as tall as Brian Lee is. Using the forearm. Boss Winter saying, tag out, tag out. Keith Eric back in there. Eric strike with a fist. He's going for the eyes again, then a fist to the midsection. Reversal by Brian Lee. He dumps Eric over his back, over to the corner, makes the tag. Tracy Smothers coming in over the ropes. The grappler coming in after the tag. Tracy going after all of them. He's got the grappler in there. Down to the mat he goes. Tracy goes with the back kick. There's a cover. 1, 2. He got him. Give Brian Lee a John Paul an assist. And Boss Winters gets nailed again over here on the ring apron. Been a bad day for Boss. Bad day for his team so far as they are down. 1 fall. Second fall action as we'll check our time and be back with you in just a moment.
Coming in May, the Renegade Cyclone Stampede.
Pete Gossett that he's got a manager's license and he's going to be in the cage when the Rage in the Cage happens. That should be interesting because the King, of course, has paid his way into the match too. So the King will have a chance to get back at Ronnie P. Gossett for the interference in which the Master of Pain ended up taking the belt away from Jerry the King Lawler. We're going to have more action for you right here, of course, next week on CWA Championship Wrestling. Hope you'll be joining us. Till then, I'm Dave Brown. So long, everybody.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of Championship Wrestling.